Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's been I took a little over a week off of doing streaming and content creation in general because of criticism. Not even constructive criticism, destructive criticism. And this is something that we all kind of encounter as we go through really just life in general is this thing where people will give us criticisms and sometimes they don't give you any indication on what you're doing actually wrong. They're just really just tearing you down. Um, so I got to thinking this past week as I was really kind of almost ready to tear everything down, like take away all my channels and everything. I was again at that point. Um, and with my anxiety and depression, sometimes I can take even a constructive criticism and make it seem worse than it really is. So I really wanted to kind of go through what happens when I receive criticisms. Now I've gotten better over the years. My when I first started experiencing all my anxiety and depression symptoms back in during my bachelor's degree, I remember one instance like specifically. It was doing jazz conducting, which is a very different thing. I was a music education major, so I was trying to be the best I could be, and in a time that was very difficult, frustrating, just you name it. I mean, I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to be on my own, and I didn't realize I had an anxiety and depression issue at the time. So, like, here it is, undiagnosed, unrecognized. This is still a taboo kind of topic at the time. I mean, we're talking like 12, 13 years ago. Um, so I'm in jazz conducting, and I do the number where, I'm conducting in front of the ensemble, and when it's done, your professor and your fellow classmates give you feedback, and they tell you like, hey, this is what I saw. This is a way you could approach it different. Like, it was all focused as constructive feedback. And at the time, with my anxiety and depression, I went extremely defensive. I had an excuse for everything. I made an excuse for everything. Even if I knew they were right, I found a way to try and deflect. And that was a major issue. And I got called out on it really hard by my professor. He's like, you cannot sit and take somebody who's giving you constructive criticism and either deflect or make an excuse for it. The only thing you can do is learn from it. And he even reminded me, this is an environment where you're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to mess up, and you need to learn from it. And that was something like, it was a very positive message, believe it or not. It was incredibly supportive, yet I took it as this thing that he was personally attacking me. He was tearing me down. I'm not good enough. I'm terrible. You know what that was? Negative self-talk. That was me projecting my negativity and my problems onto my professor, who was trying to help me out, trying to get me to see that I was making mistakes and just trying to help me find a way to learn from them. And I projected my own negativity, my own depreciative self-image onto that. And now that transformed my thinking from that moment on. And it didn't really sink in until about 3 or 4 months later, what he was trying to get through to me and what I was needed to understand. So as I've gotten older and I've matured, I've taken that advice of I need to be a little bit more mindful. And what that really has translated into is understanding the difference between constructive criticism and just outright teardown. Okay. And this is constructive criticism versus destructive criticism. So you got to understand which is which. And sometimes when somebody gives you a criticism, when you have these negative just self-image of yourself and this negative perception of yourself, you're automatically going to perceive anything that anybody tells you as just negative, period. And the hardest thing to do is realize that when somebody's going, you didn't quite do it right, or you're not quite there, you're not this is some things that I think you could really help you. And that's one of the things is one of these things that is constructive is I see that you could do this better. There's this that you could do better. What people are giving you on that constructive feedback is guidance on what they see you being able to capitalize on, learn from, and develop better to make an overall better product. And so I've taken that and I've taken feedback from some, especially when I first started streaming. There was some things that at the time felt like maybe it was a personal attack on the way I was doing things. More specifically, my buddy Brian, uh, he told me that when I first started that my whole overlay thing just filled him with dread. And I look back on it now. It was young. It was simple. It wasn't simple. It was cringy. It really was. The way it was presented was very cringy. There was nothing very consistent. There was no quality. Like, the quality was low. I can look back and I can reflect on it, but it was what he did was he pointed me in the directions on basically what I needed to be doing. So for me, it was solidifying the imagery, getting everything kind of more uniform, more crystal clear, more communicative to the audience. And from that, I started realizing that I needed to develop myself further, and I learned how to do different things with different programs. I just stooped myself into learning more. And it was just something I have built in is learning more and learning more and learning more about this craft, about how to develop my content creation better. I like to take more simplistic approaches to certain things. I like to make things more complicated in different ways. So it's like finding my balance, finding my way, still learning, but without the criticisms, without people actually telling you, I like what you did here, but here's how you can do it better. I can't make the product so much better and like this perfect thing that I want. But what really bugs me is when I get the criticisms that offer no true feedback. And this is the most destructive, not helpful thing, is when you get somebody who will comment on what you're doing and comment on your stuff and basically tear down any merit it has, any kind of quality, anything. Like, they completely tear it down and offer nothing to really tell you how you can make it better, how you can make it appeal to them better. And when you get somebody who tears down your entire work, everything you've worked hard for, everything you try to do, it really derails you. And what happened to me recently is, I've had a few critics come back and they don't provide any kind of positivity. No avenue for, hey, here's how I think you can improve or how you can do things better. It was literally just, your content is just really repackaging this, and that's it. It's just a repackaging, and it's nothing but a tool for this, and it's not really going to get you, and I don't want to try and be specific or point anybody out or anything like that, but basically tearing apart my work. Things I work very, very hard on, and things I work to try and differentiate myself not in that way, but also to provide avenues of help for others who may not be getting this same kind of insight. And I've gotten my criticisms about what I'm doing with this. And I'm like, the purpose of this really is for me. I want to be able to look back when I'm having a hard time with a specific kind of problem. I like to go back to what I'm telling myself, because that's what this is. This is me telling myself more than anything. I'm not here to really try and tell others what to do. I'm here to try and help myself. So when I'm saying you, I'm actually referring to me. And I've got a popcorn kernel. But like, it's so hard to bounce back when somebody takes everything you have worked so hard on. You put your heart and soul into it. You put everything. You put absolutely everything into it. And then they just tear it down. And it's hard not to take it personally, because it is a personal attack. If you don't offer some kind of, hey, this is where I think you can do better, you're just tearing somebody down. And one of the things that I'm having to try and constantly tell myself is when that happens, I need to disregard. I need to throw it away. It's not useful. It's not helpful. It needs to go away. And that probably is the most difficult thing to do, especially when you're already struggling with your own self-image, your own self-worth, your own problems. And you have a very low self-esteem. It's really hard to just take this negativity that was thrown at you really hard and throw it away. Because what it's winding up doing is taking that thing you've told yourself for years where that you're not worth anything and you're not of value and whatnot, and it basically is trying to like that criticism. It's not a criticism, that basically tear down is validating the negative self-image and self-talk you have been doing. That's a problem. And so the hardest thing to do is when something's validating and that negative is way more powerful than positive because it's easier. It takes a lot of energy to throw it away and move on. And I took a week, not really because I wanted to take the week off. I did it because I legit was ready to quit. I was ready to give up. I was ready to be done. I was ready to move on and just be like, screw it. I'm not doing content creation ever again because apparently my stuff is junk. Like everything I do is junk. And that's how it felt. When in reality, if it's not something that is going to help you get better or move you in the right direction, you just disregard it because it's really just, it's somebody else's anger or just general meanness trying to tear you down. And that's all it is. If it doesn't provide anything that actually will help you move forward or build or grow or learn or anything like that, you need to disregard it. Because if it's not useful, you don't have a place for it. That's the thing that needs to be remembered more than anything. It's only constructive if somebody gives you actual avenues to explore and learn and grow. That's the only criticisms you need, is the ones that help you learn, grow, and move on, and get better, and keep driving forward. Am I going to make it big time? Probably not. Who knows? I don't know, because I can't tell the future. None of us can tell the future. None of us can say, we're going to make it big. The likelihood is, I'm not going to make it big. You know what? That's fine. I don't need to make it big. My growth needs to really actually just revolve around the fact that my message is getting out there. That people can connect with what I'm saying, that understand, and that I can build a community of people who understand this, who realize that they're not alone. Because my whole thing is that I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. And I want other people to realize they're not alone. It's okay to not be okay. That is like my big message. And if I'm getting criticized about things and trying to help people be better and help people move forward and just help. If I'm getting criticism that's tearing down but not providing me anything that helps me learn and grow and be better, then what's the point? What's the point of that comment? What's the point of tearing me down? You know what? I don't need it. I don't need it in my life. I don't need that negativity. I already did enough negativity. I'm done with it. I want to start moving in positive directions. I want to start being a good influence. I want to start being better. I want to start being better than I was yesterday. I want to improve. I want to get better. I don't want somebody telling me that I suck when I know I don't. And I don't want somebody diminishing my work because they just are angry at themselves. I don't need that. I don't need the comments that are going to just tear me down to tear me down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on those who go, hey, I like what you did, but I think it can be better, and here's how I think it can be better. Cool. I'm gonna start exploring it. I'm gonna start learning. And that's where I am going to start separating myself from a lot of things. A lot of the negative things that have been a driving negative factor against me, I'm eliminating it, I'm moving on, and I'm going to start driving into, if you're not going to give me anything positive, I'm not going to respond to it. I'm not. I don't have time for it. It is time to only take people who want to give me the criticisms that'll actually help me progress and learn and help me be better. I'm not going to sit and I'm going to make sure I differentiate between the two. You're not offering me an avenue to learn and explore and become better, I'm not listening to it. And if all you want to do is tear down my work, you know what? Fine. Tear it down. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not helping you. I'm just going to avoid you. So, when you get those doubters, when you get those people who are just basically being mean, to be mean, just throw away what they're saying. If they are not providing you any kind of positive feedback and they're not providing you a positive impact, don't worry about it. It's not worth it. It's not. I'm going to try and overcome it. I'm getting past it. First step for me to get over it was going live again. After being gone for over a week because I just literally was ready to tear it all down, I went back and went live. And guess what? Felt good. Felt good to have people in my corner. Felt good to know that I'm not alone. And that there are people who appreciate what I'm doing and there are people who appreciate who I am. They're out there. They're there. Don't ignore them. Stop taking the criticisms that don't offer you any kind of growth. If it doesn't offer you growth, get rid of it. It's not worth it. It's a weed. It's a weed in a garden that you're tending to. You don't need to have the weeds there. Get rid of them. So, it's a little rantish. I'm still a little angry. I'm still a little upset. But I'm moving on. I'm getting better. And I'm not gonna let negativity keep me down. I'm not gonna let it hold me back. I'm not gonna let it define me. I'm defined by how I grow and improve every day with my craft, the thing I love to do, what I would love to make my job. I'm just going to keep growing it, and I'm going to keep getting better. And I'm going to keep making sure that those who keep trying to pull me down and degrade me, I'm going to prove them wrong. Because you know what? Fuck them. I'm better than that. Don't ever, ever, ever let somebody tear you down. The difference between being torn down and somebody providing you an opportunity to grow. Know that difference. They provide you honest feedback of, hey, this is what I think you could do better. Grow with it. They're not meaning to be mean. If they're offering you that growth, that means they care. If all they do is tear you down, that's all they were there for. You got this. Let them hate. Rise above. You got this.